I love wine. I drink wine all the time. But even as someone who drinks wine all the time, I know nothing about wine. I can't tell you the difference between like a Pinot Grigio, Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris. I can't tell you. I don't even know what a Pinot is. And I honestly couldn't care less. I find wine connoisseurs a little bit irritating, if I'm being honest with you. And look, if you're a wine connoisseur, I love that for you. Okay, but just keep it to yourself because I don't want to have a conversation about wine at every dinner. Here in North America, at a certain age, people just expect you to know things about wine. And so you always have to have a go-to wine in your head. And so my go-to is Cabernet Sauvignon from California. But to be honest with you, like I can't tell. You know, you could bring me any glass of red wine and I'll be like, oh my God, yes. I can really taste the Napa Valley. The other day, I was at an Italian restaurant and the server comes up to me to ask, sir, would you care for some wine? And I'm looking through the wine list. I'm like, you know what? I would love a glass of white. But I'm looking through the names and I don't recognize any of it because it's in like Italian. It's like, Arrivederci. And I'm like, okay, which one would you recommend? And he's like, I would recommend any of them. They're all good. So I was like, okay, which one is your most popular? And he's like, they're all popular. And I'm like, okay, well, this is not helpful at all. And he's like, okay, well, what kind of wine do you normally drink? And I'm like, I normally drink Cabernet Sauvignon from California. And he's like, oh, but Cabernet Sauvignons are red. Why are you drinking white? And I'm like, well, I feel like drinking white. Is there a problem? Is there a problem with white? He asked, well, normally, how do you like the taste of your wine? And I'm like, well, I like wines on a sweeter side. And he's like, none of my wines are sweet. They're all dry. And I was like, okay. I didn't even know that dry was the opposite of sweet. And he asks, well, do you like oak or no oak? And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Do people just walk around this earth knowing if they want oak or no oak in their wines? And he's like, well, you know what? Why don't I just bring them all out for you and you can try them all? And I'm like, oh God, please no. Please don't do that because then I have to sit there and pretend like I can tell the difference. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. And he brings them all out and he pours the first wine and I try and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. And he's like, yeah, I think you would like that one. That one is no oak. And I'm like, oh yeah, this really tastes like no oak. I don't fucking care. I do not care. Just give me anything, okay? I am looking to get drunk.